Democrats can appeal to those type of people, which, you know, we can argue whether that's really relevant. But certainly the way they can appeal to those people and in a bigger way is to fight for something. And the problem is that in many instances, ideologically speaking, they can't fight for those things. I mean, even like, look at, immigration. One thing that Bill Clinton understood, at least from a campaign perspective, is strong and wrong is better than right and weak. And
that's a great point. I'm glad he brought Clinton up because, yeah, Clinton was right-wing on a lot of issues, left-wing on a lot of issues. Ultimately, there weren't people in the country who were super turned off by him because of policy positions, but they were like, yeah, no, Bill Clinton's confident. There's an economic recession going on. George H.W. Bush is a Republican and he's the president. We will vote Democratic. I think that Bill Clinton ultimately could have run as a staunch leftist and with his charisma and confidence could have still won the election, even though that was a more conservative time. I think people would have been interested in punishing the Republican Party, the incumbents, and electing Bill Clinton, and they would have still been won over by his strength, even if he was to the left of the American people. And I think he could have sold progressivism really well, but ultimately it's not who he is. But he still had a lot of confidence, even in his centrism, that within today's Democratic Party is not looked at super fondly or quite as fondly. A lot of the progressives don't really like what he's ushered in. You know, he's continued the neoliberalism of the Ronald Reagan era.
In many instances, I would argue that it is hard, and this is from the perception of the voter. Understand that a voter would prefer someone who is strong about things, even if they disagree with them, because it shows that this person's going to fight. So on the issues that they agree with, they can trust them more. This is like a fairly basic communication tactic. It's like, okay, I'm going to tell you something that you and I agree with, okay, and then I'm going to tell you something I disagree with you on. And by my being that honest with you, it increases your trust in the things that we agree on. And
yeah, so the idea kind of is that, okay, if someone has the balls to disagree with you on something, they probably have the balls to fight for you when they agree with you on something. You probably want them to agree with you on more stuff than they disagree with, but either way, you know, they're going to fight for you, at least in the areas that you agree, and you might hope that they don't succeed in the areas where you disagree. And there are plenty of people that I know who in 2016 and 2024 voted for Trump and were like, I'm voting for him in spite of some of this stuff. I hope he doesn't succeed at some of this stuff, but I kind of hope he succeeds at some of this other stuff. So yeah, that's just a great example of what Sam's saying here.
I'm willing to say strongly that I disagree with you on this. I'm also indicating to you that I'm willing to fight for what I stand for, which means the things we agree on, I'm also willing to fight for. And so the problem with a lot of Democrats have is that they're constrained on some level. So you see this.
Yeah, they are constrained, and that's where the corporate donation issue comes in. That's where the, principles thing comes in, actually, where they're too principled to fight the Republicans. The Republicans will pretend to have principles and pretend to draw these lines like, oh, we need to play by these rules, but they will abandon the rules as soon as the rules become inconvenient for them. Whereas the Democrats still play by the rules, even when they're not actually rules, like the parliamentarian thing. Joe Biden is like, oh, the parliamentarian, I can't do anything about the parliamentarian. The parliamentarian is now a rule. That's not in the Constitution. But yeah, they are super constrained, far more constrained than they ever need to be, and Republicans are way less constrained than they need to be. And I think the fact that Democrats are so constrained and that they act that way, and it turns off the so-called bros. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Let me know what you think about Sam Seder's comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to speaking to you in my next video.